right, let's jump into a world of, well, romance and family secrets, maybe even a little legal intrigue. We're doing a deep dive today into a historical romance novel.
Okay.
It's set in 19th century England, and honestly, it's so much more than just a typical love story. It really gives us a window into inheritance law and just family dynamics back then.
You know, these novels, they weren't just about like stolen kisses and all that.
Right.
They really reflected a lot of the social norms and realities of the time. So when we kind of dig into these details, we can uncover, some really surprising truths about how people lived, loved, and handled all the complexities of family and fortune and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this novel, it just throws us right into the thick of it with our main guy, Anthony Elliot. He's just become the Earl of Greyley, but here's the twist. He hasn't inherited a bunch of land
Right.
or money.
Yeah.
He's inherited five kids.
5 kids. That's quite an inheritance.
And they're not even his kids. They're his distant cousins, the Elliot clan.
Yeah.
And they're known for being a little more spirited
Yeah.
than your average kids.
Spirited.
Yeah.
I bet there's going to be some drama.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Right off the bat, we see all these family dynamics at play. Anthony's half-brother, Lord Brandon St. John, he's making jokes about this armful of babes.
Right.
But Anthony, well, he knows the Elliots have a certain reputation, and he's bracing himself
Yeah.
for a wild ride.
And then there's Lady Putney.
Right.
She's the children's grandmother, and she is outraged, understandably. Can you imagine your grandkid suddenly going to live with some distant relative that you barely know?
And she's definitely scheming, trying to figure out how to get control back.
Oh, yeah, the wheels are turning.
It makes you wonder about, like, the legalities of it all. How could someone just inherit 5 kids? Was that, like, a normal thing?
Well, so in 19th century England, inheritance law, it was complicated, and it often favored male heirs. So in this case, it seems like Anthony, he was the closest male relative, so that meant the kids became his responsibility.
Wow.
And probably any, property or wealth or whatever that went with taking care of them. It wasn't, like, super common, but it definitely happened.
Yeah.
And you can just imagine the pressure on a guy like Anthony. I mean, to manage these kids.
Right.
But also, maintain that family name and reputation and all that.
Yeah, no pressure. So he's got like 5 rambunctious kids running around, a scheming grandmother who's trying to undermine him at every turn. And then the solicitor throws in another wrench. He's like, oh, yeah, and you need to get Greyley House ready for a bride.
Of course. Because what's a new earl without a wife?
Exactly. You got to secure that lineage.
Got to keep the family going.
Yeah, so the pressure's really on. And we start to see Anthony kind of change a bit. Like there's this hint of arrogance that comes out. It's subtle, but you can kind of see it in like the way his jaw tightens. Like he's not only dealing with all this responsibility, but maybe he's kind of starting to like the power that comes with being the Earl.
So he's trying to project this, like, I got this attitude.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can still sense that vulnerability underneath it all, especially when we see him with his half-siblings, the St. Johns. They're very warm and supportive, but you get the feeling that Anthony doesn't quite belong. He's not really one of the St. Johns, but he's not really one of the Elliots either.
He's kind of in between.
Yeah, he's kind of this outsider. And just as he's grappling with all this family drama and the pressure of his new title, he meets our heroine, Anna Traxton.
Okay.
And she is not your typical, meek and mild governess.
Oh, really?
We first meet her at a ball, and let's just say she makes quite the entrance. There's this scene where this creepy lord is getting a little too handsy.
Uh-oh.
And Anna just throws her drink right in his face.
No way. What a way to make an impression.
I know, right? And who happens to witness this whole thing? Anthony. Most people would probably avoid her after that, but Anthony, he sees opportunity.
Yeah.
He needs a governess for these 5 little devils. And Anna, she just, she's got this fire in her. And he's like, she might be just the person for the job.
He's intrigued.
Oh, he's definitely intrigued. And not just by her boldness either. And as she's described as unexpectedly attractive. So there's definitely a spark there. It's not just, a strictly professional kind of thing.
There's something more going on.
Definitely, yeah. And that spark, it kind of ignites even further when Anthony, he helps her put on her shoe, she sprains her ankle.
Oh, no.
And it's kind of clumsy, but it's charming too.
Yeah.
And it's this brief moment of intimacy. But it shows this vulnerable side of Anna. She's like insecure about her feet. She thinks they're too big.
It's a little detail, but it says a lot about the time period. You know, like women's appearances were so scrutinized. And it's a good reminder that underneath those fancy dresses and societal expectations, they were real people with, insecurities.
Exactly. So we've got Anthony with his inherited kids and this need for a strong governess. And Anna, she needs a respectable position, but she's not going to let anyone walk all over her.
Right.
And the next day they meet to talk about the job and in their negotiation. It's something else.
Oh, I bet. What happens?
Well, her grandfather, Sir Phineas, he shows up, and he's kind of eccentric. But he obviously cares about Anna a lot. And when he finds out Anthony's an earl, well, you can practically see the dollar signs in his eyes.
He's trying to make sure she gets a good deal.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely sizing Anthony up. Like, is this guy good enough for my granddaughter? And Anthony is completely flustered by Anna. She's so direct. She knows her worth.
I like her already.
She's demanding a high salary, an assistant, all the supplies for the kids, even ponies. And Anthony, he's not used to people saying no to him. So it's intriguing, but also kind of throws him off.
It's a clash of personalities for sure.
Totally. He's this wealthy earl who's used to, giving orders, and she's not backing down at all. It's great.
So we've got this power dynamic playing out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And before we jump into the chaos that is Grayley House, we got to meet the other big players in this story, the 5 Elliott children.
Okay. What are they like?
Well, each one is a unique character.
Ugh.
Like Desford, the oldest one, he's a natural-born leader.
Right.
Even if it's just in, like, being mischievous.
Oh.
And then there's Selena, the youngest. She's a little firecracker.
Oh, dear.
And the 3 in between, they each add their own brand of chaos. Their first meeting with Anthony, it's pure comedy. These kids have been running wild, pretty much ignored by their previous guardians. They're used to getting their way.
Yeah.
So when Anthony tries to, like, lay down the law,
What happened?
we give them blank stares, they roll their eyes, they don't listen.
Classic.
And just when he's about to lose it, Lady Putney swoops in, whisks him away with promises of sweets and treats. She's totally undermining him.
Playing the good guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So we've got these clashing personalities, this battle for control, and all this unspoken tension brewing under the surface.
Sounds juicy.
Oh, it is. But even with all this chaos, there's this little spark between Anthony and Anna. You can kind of feel it there. It's subtle, but it's there.
So as they try to manage these kids, their relationship will be put to the test.
Oh, yeah. And we'll have to wait for the next part of our deep dive to see how it all heats up. So last time we left Anthony with a house full of chaos, 5 mischievous kids, and a very intriguing governess. I have a feeling things are about to get even more interesting.
Oh, absolutely. Those whimpers about the Elliott children being a spirited bunch.
Right.
Well, they definitely live up to their reputation.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking like ink-splattered desks, salted toast, even a lizard in Anna's bed.
Wow.
It's like a full-blown prank war.
Yeah, but there's almost something impressive about their creativity.
Right. It's not just like typical kid stuff.
No, not at all.
It's like they're testing the boundaries of their new world. They've gone from being neglected to, having Anthony and Anna watching over them, so they're pushing back.
Yeah, and that creates this tension between Anthony and Anna.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's all about, like, order and control.
Structure.
Yes. And she's more about understanding and adapting to each child.
Approaching them as individuals.
Exactly. And you can just feel the sparks fly as their philosophies clash.
And that clash is so perfectly illustrated in that scene where Anthony tries to guess Anna's weight.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's played for laughs in the book, but it really reveals a lot about those underlying assumptions of the time.
It's so awkward.
Yeah.
Like, he can't help but try to, like, put her in a box.
Define her.
Yes, define her by her physical attributes. And Anna, she just refuses to play that game.
She's too smart for that.
Yeah, she's witty, she's sharp, she's not afraid to challenge him.
And the author uses that scene to really highlight the power dynamics, right?
Right.
I mean, Anthony, as a man of his status, he feels like he can just make these assumptions about Anna. But Anna, she's subtly pushing back against those norms.
She is. And then it gets even better when we have the incident with the shoes in the pond.
The shoes in the pond? What happened?
Well, the kids, they have this warped sense of democracy.
Okay.
And they decide to hold a vote on what to do with Anthony's prized footwear.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine? He's trying to establish himself as the head of the house.
Right.
And these kids are throwing his belongings into a pond.
That's hilarious.
And the best part, Anthony and Anna, they both end up in the pond trying to get the shoes back.
No way.
It's like pure slapstick comedy.
I love it.
But it's also like a turning point for them.
How so?
Well, they're both literally and figuratively getting their hands dirty, dealing with this chaotic household.
They're in it together.
Exactly. And Anthony starts to see Anna in a new light.
Yeah.
He's impressed by how she handles the kids, something he could never do.
Right.
And let's be honest, he's totally noticing her attractiveness.
There's definitely something there.
Oh, yeah, the attraction between them is undeniable.
It's building.
Yes, you see these stolen glances, these moments where the tension is just, like, palpable.
You can feel it.
And then we have that scene in the library.
Okay.
Anthony's feeling vulnerable, and he opens up to Anna about his past.
He lets his guard down.
Yeah, he's been hurt before. He doesn't open up to people easily.
So this is a big deal.
It is. It's a real emotional connection they're forming.
Right. It's more than just physical attraction.
Exactly. And you can see Anna struggling with her feelings, too.
Yeah.
She's drawn to him, but she knows a relationship is impossible.
Because of their social standing?
Yeah, she's just the governess.
Right. The social divide is huge.
Huge. And just as things start to heat up between them, we have a complication.
Uh-oh, what kind of complication?
Charlotte Melton,
Who's Charlotte?
Anthony's intended bride.
Oh, so the woman he's supposed to marry?
Yep. She's young, innocent, everything society expects Anthony to marry.
Right, the perfect match.
But it's so clear he's not interested in that anymore.
You want something more.
Yeah, he wants something real.
So Charlotte's arrival throws everything off.
It does. Anna tries to distance herself from Anthony.
Because she knows it can't work.
Right. And Anthony's battling his feelings while trying to do what's expected of him.
It's a mess.
And poor Charlotte, she's caught in the middle of all this.
Yeah, talk about a love triangle.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we see how much Anna's influencing the household.
How so?
The kids are thriving. The house is running smoothly.
Wow.
And even Anthony, he's softening a bit.
She's changing him.
She is. And there's this great scene where she stands up to Lady Putney.
Really?
Yeah, in front of everyone. She challenges her authority.
That's bold.
It is. It shows how much she's grown into her role.
She's not just the governess anymore.
No, she's like a protector of the kids, a voice of reason and all this craziness.
I love that.
But then, just as things are, finding some balance, we have another twist.
Another one. What now?
A family secret.
A secret.
A deed to a diamond mine.
A diamond mine.
And guess who's at the center of it all?
Lady Putney.
Lady Putney.
Of course she is.
I know, right? It just raises the stakes even more.
It's like everyone's playing a game.
Yes. Trying to secure their future.
Right.
Charlotte's torn between her feelings for Anthony and her family's financial problems.
It's a tough spot.
It is. And Anna, she's heartbroken.
Yeah.
She feels like she doesn't belong, so she decides to leave.
Leave Grayley House.
Yeah, and Anthony, he's about to face a choice that could change everything.
This is intense.
And then right as the tension is at its peak, we have disaster.
Disaster. What happens?
A carriage accident.
Oh, no.
Anna's injured.
Is she? Okay.
And she's rescued by Rupert.
Rupert.
Remember him? He's got to play a really important role in all this.
Oh, this is getting good.
It's a total cliffhanger.
I can't wait to find out what happens next.
All right, so we left off with a carriage accident, a scheming grandmother, and a whole lot of unresolved feelings. Are you ready to see how it all ends?
Oh, definitely buckle up.
Okay.
Because Anthony, when he finds out about the accident,
Yeah.
he completely loses it.
Oh, yeah.
His usual composure gone. He rushes to Anna's side. He's terrified.
It's like a whole different side of him.
It is.
We haven't seen that before.
No.
All that control he usually has
Right.
just disappears.
And you see how much he truly cares about Anna.
Yeah, like all those walls he's built up around himself, they just crumble.
And it's that moment that reveals just how deeply he loves her.
Right.
He's willing to risk everything.
Everything.
His reputation, his standing, all of it to be with her.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Rupert, the guy who rescued Anna,
Yeah.
Anthony sees them together and, well,
Oh, boy.
jealousy.
Jealousy for sure.
Yeah.
It leads to a classic confrontation.
Oh, yeah.
Two guys fighting for Anna's affections.
Yeah.
And it all ends in a fist fight.
Of course.
Of course, you gotta have the fist fight.
Gotta have the fist fight.
Romance novel staple.
Well, it's like something out of Jane Austen, but with a lot more brawling.
A little more action.
Yeah, and in the middle of all that, Anthony confesses his love.
Wow.
It's this big, passionate declaration.
He puts it all out there.
He does. It's a real turning point for him.
Because he's finally letting go of the past.
Right.
His fears.
And he's embracing what he really wants.
Exactly.
So what about Charlotte?
Right, the woman he was supposed to marry.
Yeah, well, she has this huge realization.
What happened?
She sees how Lady Putney's been manipulating everyone, and she realizes her own feelings for Rupert.
Wow.
And she breaks off the engagement.
Good for her.
I know, right?
She's taking control.
Yes, she's choosing her own happiness.
Love over obligation.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And Lady Putney.
Oh, Lady Putney.
Her scheming.
It blows up in her face.
It does.
Blow that plot in.
And in the end,
nothing.
nothing.
It's like poetic justice.
It really is.
Shows that deceit and manipulation, they
Right.
don't really get you anywhere.
They don't.
Real happiness comes from being genuine, following your heart.
Yeah. Even when it means, like, defying what society expects.
Exactly.
So what about Anthony and Anna?
Right. Our star-crossed lovers.
Well, after all that drama, all the near-death experiences,
Right.
they find their way back to each other. Of course.
It's a romance novel. Gotta have a happy ending.
It wouldn't be a romance without it.
Right. But their story, it's more than just a fairy tale.
It is.
It's about overcoming obstacles.
Yeah.
Challenging those social norms. Fighting for what you believe in.
And their relationship really shows that love can
Can what?
transcend social boundaries.
It can.
And let's not forget Rupert and Charlotte
Right, they find happiness too.
together, proving that love can show up in the most unexpected places.
It can?
Wow, what a ride.
I know.
This deep dive has been a roller coaster.
We've laughed, we've cried, we've been on the edge of our seats.
We have.
Been amazing.
And it's been fascinating to explore not just romance,
But also family dynamics, social norms,
Right.
this historical context.
and even though it was fiction,
Yeah,
it gave us a glimpse into how people lived back then.
it did.
So, to our listeners, what would you have done if you were Anna? Could love really conquer those social barriers? Do you think family legacies, do they always control our destinies? Or can we create our own paths?
Big questions.
Big questions.
Questions that are still relevant today.
They are.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the stories that shape our world.
Until next time.